Just as firefighters depend on their equipment, they also depend on fire hydrants. But when fire hydrants are broken, that could mean a potential delay in response time and potential risk to property and lives. When Columbus firefighters respond to a fire, they know that any delay can jeopardize property and lives. Every second counts. So does each of the city's 25,000 fire hydrants, whose water helps to drown the flames. 10 Investigates found that many hydrants are broken, like at this 2-alarm fire at an East Side apartment building.
This fire hydrant right here had quite a bit of gravel in it. It was traveled down this line and stopped that engine from pumping.
An Oakwood Avenue fire damaged 3 homes. Broken hydrants meant that firefighters had to run their hoses 1,500 feet, more than a quarter mile, to get water.
We had 2 hydrants north of the scene and 2 hydrants south of the scene that were not working.
Last Tuesday, a fire on St. Clair Avenue gutted 1 home and damaged 2 others. Firefighters couldn't use this broken hydrant to fight the flames. 10 Investigates check city records. On any given week, between 500 and 600 hydrants are broken. Look up and down the street and tell me if you see another fire hydrant nearby.
I don't think there is any.
The hydrant outside Rowena Hatfield's East Side house hasn't worked in 6 months. The closest working hydrant is a block away.
Well, these houses are old, you know. They go up in no time.
We marked the locations of broken fire hydrants on a Columbus map, and we found that most are in older, poorer Columbus neighborhoods.
The fire hydrants and not working need to be more aggressively approached, and it's an alarming concern that's been brought to our attention.
We compared Columbus's percentage of broken fire hydrants to Cincinnati and found ours is 3 times higher. Indianapolis has 30,000 fire hydrants. When we checked, 2 were marked as broken. Columbus's water department is in charge of fire hydrant repairs. 2 full-time crews fixed 1,100 hydrants last year. The city says it prioritizes repairs from the reports it gets from the fire department.
We communicate back and forth as to which hydrants might require some type of an emergency repair.
Sometimes a hydrant won't get fixed for months if another one nearby is working. The water department says it's comfortable with that criteria, but not everybody feels the same way. Columbus's Firefighters Union says broken hydrants force firefighters to use the water their fire trucks carry, which only lasts a few minutes.
It's going to delay water to the fire, the additional water that's needed.
When that happens,
if there is a delay and we overcome that, sometimes it's just a few seconds, sometimes it's a minute or 2.
Angela McClain worries that could happen to her home on Hague Avenue. The closest fire hydrant has been broken for more than a year, despite calls to the city.
Get on the ball for one, respond to our calls. We have neighbors that have also made calls.
McClain's not alone. 170 other broken hydrants, 30% have been broken at least a year.
They've been broken for a year or more. I think that should be an eye-opener to somebody.
We talked with the Firefighters Union. They don't think it should take more than 3 months tops to repair a broken hydrant in Columbus. When we checked, though, the average repair time, more than 6 months, something that the city water department now says it's investigating. For 10 Investigates, I'm Roger McCoy reporting. It's not Governor Taft at $130,000 a year or Mayor Coleman, who makes $131,000, nor is it Columbus School Superintendent Jean Harris. She makes $174,000 a year. Nope, the people running the Columbus Regional Airport Authority are the ones whose salaries and perks really stand out. Airport Authority President Elaine Roberts oversees the Port Columbus, Rickenbacker, and Bolton Field airports. Her board of directors are paying her $250,000 this year.
They certainly told me they felt that my performance justified that. They wanted to keep me, and they wanted me to be one of the best paid. 6.5 million Port Columbus passengers help to pay Roberts' salary through airport parking fees, concessions, and other airport services. At $250,000, passengers we talked with were rather surprised at Roberts' pay.
It's a lot of money.
It sounds like good money.
That's way too much money.
Why do you think that?
Because I think it's overrated for what they have to do.
10 Investigates found that Roberts earns more than directors at larger airports in Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Tampa. On top of Roberts' salary, she also got a $78,000 bonus, $233,000 in bonuses since 2002. And her top 4 managers got nice bonuses as well, $326,000 over the past 4 years.
We should add Roberts also gets an SUV and a spacious rent-free house to live in on airport grounds. Ohio Citizen Action, a political watchdog group, says that's ridiculous.
They're so clearly out of line that you have to wonder why? Why in the world would they do this? What is the benefit?
A huge economic benefit, according to the board chairwoman. Kathy Ransier says the authority pumps billions into the local economy each year, supports thousands of jobs, and is transforming Rickenbacker into a regional cargo hub. Ransier says it takes the kind of compensation these managers could be making in the private sector to keep them on their public sector jobs.
We compensate these people adequately for what they do, their value to us, and what the value of the airport authority is to Columbus and this region.
Tercer says the authority should remember that his managers are public sector employees. They get paid not by shareholders, but by the traveling public.
So every time we add an additional cost on to people, it's money out of their pockets.
Elaine Roberts doesn't argue that she's well paid. She says that's what it takes to run our airports like a business.
Whether my salary should be a little more or a little less, would it affect the bottom line? Very little, if any.
Franklin County Commissioners and Columbus Mayor Michael Coleman appoint Airport Authority board members. The commissioners say they were surprised to learn about the airport manager's big bonuses. The mayor's spokesman said that the Airport Authority is independent and had no comment on its internal management. If you'd like to see how the compensation compares with other airports across the country, go to 10tv.com and just click on the 10 Investigates icon. Heather, another high-profile witness on the stand today, of course, as you just mentioned. This time it was OSU President Karen Holbrook in former basketball coach Jim O'Brien's wrongful termination case against the university. And this is a question that attorneys for O'Brien have been asking repeatedly throughout this case. They want to know why the former OSU basketball coach was fired last year without a finding first by the NCAA that there had been a violation of its rules. Today, Karen Holbrook was asked why the university never bothered to ask O'Brien for his side of the story about a $6,000 loan to former basketball recruit Alex Radojevic before O'Brien was abruptly fired last year.
The coach had entered into a clear violation of NCAA bylaws. It was considered to be a blatant violation, an egregious violation, and one that had no remedy.
And is that what the NCAA told you before Coach O'Brien was terminated?
We did not ask the NCAA. This was a university decision.
O'Brien's attorneys say that O'Brien never said anything about an NCAA violation of that loan to Radojevic. He's suing the university for $3.5 million in back pay. Of course, this case also sparked an ongoing NCAA investigation. Reporting live in downtown Columbus at the Ohio Court of Claims, Roger McCoy, 10 TV, Eyewitness News. Kurt, a memorable day. 1 in every 4 members of the 660th Transportation Company have either died or been wounded in Iraq over the past year. And for most of them and their families, coming home today was a pure joy. The members of the 660th pulled into Zanesville to a sea of handmade welcome signs and the loving faces of children, spouses, friends, and parents today. Their joy was knowing their soldiers had come home safely.
I'm just glad they're back. We have them back. They did us proud.
A month ago, Sergeant Tony Bender was a lead gunner, escorting fuel tankers through some of Iraq's most dangerous roads, surviving sniper fire and roadside bombs. Today, Sergeant Bender saw his baby boy for the very first time.
All right.
What are you going to do now?
I'm going to go home.
And then do what?
Sit back and eat some McDonald's, I think. I just want to get home and relax and might have me just hang out with all my friends and family.
Linda Davis drove 400 miles from Michigan to be here. Her husband, Sergeant Donald Davis, died last August when his fuel truck crashed on a mission with the 660th inside Iraq.
These people became his family. You know, we had to be here to support them too.
Before Linda's husband left for Iraq last year, he gave her his dog tag.
And on the back of it, it says, "I will be strong, courageous. I will not be terrified or discouraged, for the Lord my God is with me wherever I go." We had 6 kids, and he brought it home to me and told me I was going to need it more than him. Lo and behold, it was the other way around.
On the auditorium stage where these heroes were welcomed home today, something else was revealed about the soldiers of the 660th. Their loyalty to the fellow soldiers who watched over them in Iraq, and their loss of the 4 men from their company who died there. For every hero who goes off to war, said the company's first sergeant, there's another waiting back home.
The mothers of the soldiers that have fallen, but their fathers are not coming back. Where's your heroes? You guys are the heroes.
The 660th Transportation Company also held a homecoming today in Cadiz, Ohio, and 8 members of that unit are still recovering from the wounds they received in Iraq. I'm Roger McCoy for 10 TV Eyewitness News.